one of your objectives should be to build a relationship with stakeholders in the company who have as high responsibility as possible. If you're fortunate, you've had an opportunity to interact with multiple people in the organization who will be impacted by this decision. Each of them has different types of needs and concerns, of course, depending on their functional responsibilities. And part of your job is to connect them all into one response. Remember again that you're a business person first. And as a business person, you're speaking with managers. The language of management is money. So at the end of the day, their decision is going to be made in the language of management, in the language of dollars and cents. And ultimately, you have to translate every discussion to that. But in the room, people's everyday functions are not about money, except for the financial guy. If it's an operating person, they're concerned about how many units were produced that day. Are they shipping on time? What's the productivity for the departments, for the organization? Those tend to be in the language of things. Units produced, time, etc. So I think for each person in the room, you're looking when you're formulating proposals as to how to connect that function's needs into dollars that you're creating a return on. Okay? Ultimately, that's going to look like a payback and a time. We're going to pay this back in so much time. You may run into a situation where a particular stakeholder's needs cannot be met. And your function at that point is to help them prioritize those needs amidst the many. Okay? So assuming, of course, that this is a situation that's come out as a secondary need, a secondary concern. Let's say that your technology is going to require people on the floor to spend their break time, 15 minutes a day, learning this new technology, and they're worried about how that's going to impact the productivity of the department during the day. And how are you going to overcome that kind of thing? And there are situations where you have to do the training. You have to do the training. So one of the ways I typically would look at that, or suggest you look at that, is to come back and say, one way or the other, we have to do this training. So let's look at what are the priorities and what are the investments. Does this option address the primary priorities that you dealt with? And how much money is earned by this proposal that addressed the primary concerns you raised? Okay? And in doing that, let's look at how long it takes you then to return that money. Okay? What's the payback period? That's typically the way that you engage people. First in the world in which they live, in the language of things that this proposal addresses, and then helping them, walking them through the conversion into the language of money that feeds into the proposal and the value you're producing.